So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. In today's video, we are going to be continuing with the deadline rebuilds, and today it's DeAndre Hunter to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers have undoubtedly been one of, if not the best team in basketball all season. At the time I am recording this video, they are 43-10. They have one of the best records in the league, and they are pretty much in sole control of the Eastern Conference. When we take a look at the landscape of this roster, there is some good depth with this group. Obviously, an unbelievably talented front court with Mobley and Allen, an awesome backcourt with Mitchell and Garland. I guess maybe the one thing you could say they were maybe a little bit weak at would be their small forward spot. They had a couple nice options with Okoro, with Max Strus, but it really felt like they were looking for a step up at that three. And they went out and got it. They got DeAndre Hunter from the Atlanta Hawks. He looked like a guy who was going to be the favorite for Sixth Man of the Year, and that's certainly going to change now that he's here in Cleveland and likely will be moving forward as a starter. So this was a really good trade for Cleveland. They gave up Georges Niang, Karis LeVert, 3 second-round picks, a couple future pick swaps, but to get away with DeAndre Hunter, who has been really, really good this season, without giving up a single first, feels like a really big deal. And I think this Cavs team is going to be very dangerous come playoff time, and I'm really excited to see it. So we'll talk a little bit more about this roster and how I think things will kind of shake out once we get into the video. But again, continuing with these deadline rebuilds, even into a week after. And as always, let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section. I have a few more ideas in terms of the trade deadline rebuilds. I'm sure there are other things you guys want to see. Even if a team did not necessarily get a star player, if they maybe traded one away, I'm happy to do the other side of some of the blockbuster deals as well. So let me hear it all down below in the comment section. Always open to whatever it is you guys are looking for me to do. So I'm excited for this one today. This Cavs team is really dominant, and my goal is to get them a championship. Let's get into it. All right, as I mentioned in the intro, we currently find ourselves sitting at 43-10 with this Cleveland Cavaliers team. We are using start today as we have been for all of the deadline rebuilds. It obviously makes the most sense logistically. And let's go ahead and do what we have been doing throughout this entire series in discussing the roster at hand. This Cavaliers one is really, really good. There is absolutely no denying that. They are 1000% going to be a contender, and I fully expect them to run away with the Eastern Conference, at least in the regular season. I think the Celtics are like 5.5 games behind them, and I do not necessarily foresee them being caught. So let's get into it. As we have been doing, we'll go position by position. Darius Garland has been really good this year. He's 25 years old, didn't have the greatest season in the world last year. I know he dealt with some injuries, but has bounced back in a really, really big way and has been one of the best point guards in basketball this entire season. So he's a building block for me. He is not going anywhere, almost 1000%. Ty Jerome has been a very nice surprise. I did not see Ty Jerome taking this big of a leap heading into this year. He carved out a really nice role at the backup point guard spot in their 6th-man role, and he has flourished in that role, up to an 82 overall right now. One thing I'm going to be a little bit nervous about is maybe having the opportunity to re-sign him this offseason. We have Craig Porter Jr. here, who's going to be a nice depth piece. I don't know if he'll necessarily be in the rotation, at least for year one, but having a 74 overall who's 24 years old as your third point guard is typically a really good sign of things to come. We head to the shooting guard spot. Donovan Mitchell, one of the best players in the world, whether you put him in top 10, top 12, 15, whatever it is. Donovan Mitchell is really good. Has not once ever missed the playoffs in the entirety of his career. He's 28 years old. He's a 93 overall, and he's obviously the best player on this team, the face of the franchise. So I'm excited to see what he can do in today's video. I am hoping he can be the superstar that leads this team to a championship. I have a lot of confidence in that, and I really am excited to see how this thing goes. Now, behind him is going to be interesting because Sam Merrill is the one listed shooting guard right now. You can ignore Evan Fournier. I don't know why 2K, auto puts players that are not actually in the NBA on rosters. He's not on the Cavs. But Sam Merrill is the one listed shooting guard here. And while he's a good shooter and a guy that can come off the bench and knock down a couple threes, I think I'd like a little bit of an upgrade there. And of course, we're past the trade deadline. So that doesn't mean a trade is going to come. It just means the next logical step would maybe be moving somebody to that shooting guard spot. And that player is going to be Max Strus. He played a lot of shooting guard in Miami. We have a lot of depth here at the small forward spot, and I think that makes a lot of sense for me. So we'll talk about the man of the hour, DeAndre Hunter, who, again, I cannot believe the Atlanta Hawks did not get a single first-round pick for. I understand some of the pick swaps could maybe be valuable in the future, but I just thought they could have gotten more, and there was not really a reason they had to trade him, right? He's not an expiring contract. He wasn't going to leave in free agency. Guy has 2.5 years left on his deal, so I didn't 100% understand it. It is what it is. But he's going to be starting for us here moving forward. Probably what they'll continue to do in real life. It makes a lot of sense, in my opinion, have your 5 best players starting. And that's my thought process as well. So we'll probably move Max Strus to the backup 2 again. Overall, may go down 1 or 2. I'm not super worried about it. Isaac Okoro, I was hoping was going to get a little better this year. Now, he is pretty good defensively. There's no doubt about that. I think I'd like to see his offensive numbers continue to improve, and they just really haven't. So it sucks. It is what it is. I'm really hoping that overall can continue to climb, but I have no plans to move on from him right now. But for a former number 5 overall pick, you'd like to think you can get a little bit more, but it is what it is. 22-year-old Jalen Tyson as well, who of course was their first round pick last year. There's just not a huge opportunity for him right now, at least here in 2K. Given this current roster, it's something we can certainly look forward to maybe come off-season time as we approach year 2 or year 3, but as of now, likely will be out of the 10-man rotation. Power forward spot, I love Evan Mobley. I think he is one of the best defensive players in all of basketball. He's very versatile given his size, and I think he's going to be a star in this league for a very long time. So again, not going to be moved at likely any point of this video. Dean Wade is currently injured. We'll likely turn that injury off. We don't really ever play with injuries on, but I still have Vietnam flashbacks from that game Dean Wade had against my Celtics, where he basically turned into what I would consider a combination of Kobe Bryant and Steph Curry in the fourth quarter. Scored like 18 points in the quarter. I don't want to talk about it. Finally, the center spot. Maybe the position I get a little nervous about, but I'm not terribly over concerned, and I'm sure you'll all understand why. The 2 listed centers on this team right now are Jared Allen and Tristan Thompson. And while I think Tristan Thompson obviously has a lot of experience and maybe in short spurts can give you something, at least in terms of rebounding, he's not really a reliable backup center as you approach the playoffs. But in all honesty, I don't really expect them to have a true backup center come playoff time, because they're probably going to have a rotation that makes the most sense where Jared Allen is either sitting and then they have Evan Mobley starting at the center spot. Like, I just don't really see a path for Thompson getting true minutes come playoff time. But as of now, he's likely going to be what we have to deal with, just because, again, I'm not playing Dean Wade at the center spot. So for one season, I think Tristan Thompson, or at least the rest of this season, will likely be our backup center. But that's what we're working with right now. It is obviously a very talented team. You don't get to be 43-10 without having a seriously good roster. So we're going to go ahead and move some positions around, set this rotation. Probably not a lot of major surprises as we talk about this 10-man rotation and how things are going to look for the rest of year number 1. The starting 5, probably nothing shocking in there. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell remain our backcourt, of course, with the trade of DeAndre Hunter. He now slides in to that starting small forward position, and then Mobley and Allen, which in my mind is clearly the best defensive front court, at least in all of basketball. Now, the bench unit will be led by Ty Jerome, has been unbelievably good for him, in terms of what we expected out of Ty Jerome this year. But he's been great, and he will hopefully continue to do that. Isaac Okoro is going to be playing the backup 3. Now, he's a 76 overall, and when, Max Strus is listed as a small forward, he's a higher overall. But Strus went down 2 when you moved him to shooting guard. Again, not the end of the world. And he'll be backing up Donovan Mitchell. Dean Wade's going to be playing the backup 4, and then Thompson, who, not my favorite fit in the world. Probably not even what they're going to do in real life. I just don't really see a path for, Tristan Thompson even throughout the regular season to average 10 minutes a night. But it is what it is here, and it is 2K, and I don't really think these 10 minutes are going to affect us too much. So that's what we're working with for now. As I mentioned, 43-10. Doesn't really get much better than that. So I expect to continue to run away with the East and hopefully have a very successful playoff run at the end of year number 1. Year 1 comes to an end. It sees Shai Gilgeous-Alexander win his first career MVP award, and we finished with a record of 60-22. Now, it's not terrible, all things considered, but if you're thinking about this logistically, we started out 43-10, whatever it was, and we ended up 60-22. So that's 17 more wins, and what would that be? 9 more losses. So 17-9 isn't exactly great given how the path this team was on, at least mathematically. So little nervous. SJ is your MVP, though. Sar wins Rookie of the Year. He got Naz Reid. These awards, at least when I've been using Start Today, have been very, similar as I end year 1. But Kenny Atkinson does win Coach of the Year for us. Typically a pretty good sign. So we are the 1 seed here, ended up beating the Celtics by 3 games and controlling the Eastern Conference in terms of home court advantage. And we are tied with the Oklahoma City Thunder for the best record in all of basketball. All right, let's talk about the numbers. I know I mentioned it in every single one of these videos. These will be a bit skewed considering it also is going to pull over DeAndre Hunter's numbers from his stint in Atlanta this season. So just kind of a little bit of a grain of salt. But here are the numbers across the board. Nothing is jumping out at me. It's super surprising or super disappointing. So I'll take it. Rebounding number is going to be led by Allen, and then Garland is going to lead us in the assist department. So Round 1, us in Detroit. I hope the Pistons are able to sneak into the playoffs this year. I think they'd be a fun team. I'm not saying that they're going to upset anybody, in round 1, whether they're playing, the 3 seed, 1 seed, 2 seed, whatever it is. But I think they could be fun, and I think it'd be big for them. So here goes nothing in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. It is a quick 2-0 lead for us. They do take home Game 3 and Game 4. We do win Game 5. We're going to 7 games with the play-in Pistons. Thank God. That made me nervous. We are now moving on to Indiana, who last year were in the Eastern Conference Finals, whether you want to call it, a fluke run or whatever. You are obviously entitled to do that, but this team has an offense that will absolutely run you out of the gym, and we obviously have to pay attention here. But we sweep them. We go to 7 with the Pistons. All right, that's fine. And it's us in the New York Knicks here in the Eastern Conference Finals. We know the identity of this Knicks team. They obviously have a lot of guys who are capable of scoring the basketball. They play good defense. And I think this would be a really fun matchup. So let's see what happens here. Quick 2-0 lead for us. They win Game 3 at the Garden. Also Game 4. We go up 3-2, and we win the series in 6, advancing to the NBA Finals to take on the Dallas Mavericks. Not exactly a huge surprise given how much 2K loves this Mavericks team. So I'll be interested to see what happens here. I think the Mavericks might just be too OP, but I hope we can get this done here in our first season. Lose the first 2 at home. Do win Game 3 on the road. Go down 3-1, lose the series in 5. I'm not surprised. It's expected given how this game works with, whatever the formula is, but 2K very much loves Dallas this year. It's always one team. I think last year it was the Cavs. This year it is Dallas. All right, as we approach the first offseason, I'm not sure there will be many major changes. When I do these rebuilds, these player-specific rebuilds anyways, like this is DeAndre Hunter's rebuild today, typically that player will remain in the starting 5. And given how talented the backcourt and frontcourt is, I don't know if there's going to be any changes in the 1 through 5 throughout this video, but we'll keep an eye on it. We are going to sim the lottery. There's a look at it. We are going to have the... Do we have a draft pick? No, the Suns have our draft pick. Okay, not sure what trade that's from. Kenny Atkinson's been unbelievable for this team. I mean, again, you think of the turnover for, roster kind of year over year. There wasn't a ton, right? And this Cavs team went from, middle of the pack to Eastern Conference, at least in terms of playoff teams, to a powerhouse. So Kenny Atkinson has done a fantastic job with minimal roster changes so far this year. We do have 2 second-round picks. I'm not going to use them. We don't have a ton of future first-round assets. That, of course, probably still traces back to the Donovan Mitchell trade, so it is what it is. We have a lot of quality depth here. Player options, none. Not going to qualify either Amoni Bates or Luke Travers, whoever the hell you are. And as we approach free agency, I think Ty Jerome, hoping, am I not able to get him back? Yeah, that's going to really suck. Just kind of gone. Is what it is. Him and DeAndre Hunter, college teammates. God, that would have been nice to be able to retain him, but obviously we were not, and we certainly have a nice backup option here with Craig Porter Jr., but going down 8 overalls in the 6-man department isn't necessarily ideal. So we may look for an upgrade at some point in time. I am certainly going to look to upgrade our backup center spot. I am just curious who are the free agents here. I don't really love. Ooh, Jalen Williams is sitting here. Now that interests me, just because of the age. Okay, maybe it doesn't. Obviously. All right, we're going to make some trades. We're pulling off a trade here with the San Antonio Spurs. We're going to be bringing in Keldon Johnson, and in return, we are sending out Max Strus and Dean Wade. I understand on paper it might not be the best idea in the world to give up 2 really important bench pieces and bring in one who is only 1 overall higher than Max Strus, but I'm doing this for a couple reasons. First and foremost, I understand how regression works in this game, and whether you want to admit it or not, Max Strus regresses really, really fast. I don't agree with it. It's just what 2K does. Keldon Johnson also is going to be a nice upgrade here. I think it is an upgrade that is necessary, and I think it is one that will greatly benefit us. Dean Wade, not really, sweating over that loss too much here in 2K anyways. All right, we're going to bring in Johnson. Excited about that. I think we definitely have a few more trades to go. The Oklahoma City Thunder are willing to trade us Aaron Wiggins for Isaac Okoro in the recently acquired Caleb Foster. I think Aaron Wiggins is a clear-cut upgrade over Okoro, and whether him or Johnson's playing the backup for, that's certainly something we can sort out. But I'm very excited about that addition. I am just curious what happens to both players overall. So Wiggins goes down 1, Johnson goes down 2. Aaron Wiggins will now be the new backup power forward. All right, I think that is a really, really good start, and I think that does improve our bench. I am likely going to let Craig Porter Jr. back up Garland. Again, it does suck losing Ty Jerome for nothing, but he had a really good season, and he deserves to get paid, and obviously we are not able to do that. We do need to find ourselves a new backup shooting guard. Potentially could do something with Jalen Tyson. Haven't decided 100%. I would have liked to have hung on to him, but ultimately he is now almost needed as a trade piece, just given the way this roster is currently constructed. So some sort of either shooting guard or center is what I'm looking for right now. Keon Ellis might be about as good as it's going to get for me. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It is. I don't want to give up Craig Porter Jr. though. All right, we're going to go ahead and take that deal here with the Sacramento Kings. Swap Tyson in a future second for Ellis. He's going to come in backup Mitchell. And then again, we're going to have to sign a backup center. It's not going to likely be my preferred backup center, but it is what it is. I get Kevon Looney quite a bit. Tice actually is no longer in the NBA. Drummond. I'm going to go with Luke Cornett. As much as I used to make fun of Luke Cornett, he's actually been really good for my Celtics this year. So that's going to be it with the moves. I think these are all, bench moves that were necessary. I think they definitely upgrade this team. Again, it sucks to lose Jerome, but there's not really an easy way to replace that. So starting five will remain exactly the same, completely new looking bench, and I'll just see you guys at the start of year number 2. Year 2 here in Cleveland. It will be our first full season where we have had control of this team and control of this roster. And I think overall wise, I'd give us like a B for the offseason, right? Of course, it sucked losing Ty Jerome. We talked about it in length at this point, so I won't keep hammering on it, but I wish we could have retained him in some way, shape, or form. But the starting five will remain exactly the same. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell in the backcourt. Why Donovan Mitchell goes down in overall is so far beyond my understanding. It's not even really funny. DeAndre Hunter remains a 3. Mobley is developing quite nicely. And then Jared Allen, who actually also might have gone down in overall. Give it up for 2K, man. Makes a lot of sense. Keon Ellis went up to an 80. He'll be my 6th man. Still got Keldon, or not still, but brought in Keldon Johnson. Aaron Wiggins went down another overall. Good job, 2K. Luke Cornett, who we brought in to be the backup center, and finally Craig Porter Jr., who will now finally crack this 10-man rotation. So that's what we're working with. Again, I think a full season under our belt will be very, very beneficial, and I very much expect to be in the mix in terms of the top teams in the league. So see you guys at the end of year number 2. I'm not sure if I'm going to include, the loading into the awards section. Just so you know, I didn't make that up and override that. I swear to God I didn't. I have never in my life seen Evan Mobley win an MVP in 2K. I'm not putting it out there as a diss against Mobley. He's a really good player, but I don't know. I swear to God I didn't override it. I'll probably show you just so you know. But yeah, we went 71-11. We were really good, and apparently so good that Evan Mobley won the MVP award. Okay, Cooper Flagg is in Portland. He takes home Rookie of the Year. You got Josh Giddey, new home in Golden State, taking home 6th man. Wemby wins Depoy. Mobley also wins Most Improved. Booker Clutch Player of the Year, and Kenny Atkinson. So 3 awards for us here in Cleveland. I would think it is safe to say we had the best record in the league, which we did, and hopefully in the driver's seat here in terms of capturing a championship. So interesting. Not one guy scored 20 plus. I know Mitchell's basically there. Same with Mobley and Garland. It's just funny to see. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get into the playoffs. We are taking on the Orlando Magic here in round 1. They have made some moves here. VJ Edgecomb's pretty... Actually, there's not a lot of moves here, but they're a really good team. Let's see what happens here. Not my favorite first-round matchup for sure. Last year, round 1 did not go great, if you remember. And it is now going to be against the team we faced in round 1 last year. That is going to be the Detroit Pistons. All right, first game, 1-0. 2-0. They do win game 3 at home. We win game 4. No. Thank you. On to the Eastern Conference Finals to take on the Milwaukee Bucks, who still got Giannis and Dame. Added Nick Claxton. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. This front court, would be insane defensively. The floor spacing here, even though Giannis has certainly expanded his game in terms of shooting, would scare me a bit, but it's 2K. It is what it is. They definitely have the best player in the series, or well, maybe do they? We have an MVP. Oh no, they have an MVP too. All right, man, we're back in the finals. We're taking on Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. There's really no defending Wemby, but if you're going to have a front court that gives it the best shot, I think ours would be, up there, at least with the size we do have. So this Spurs team, obviously adding De'Aaron Fox at the deadline, I guess last year technically, in this scenario would be a really big addition. They got some young players here with Castle, Vassell, and Sohan developing nicely, and I'm nervous. I am. I'm not going to lie to you. We are currently up 3-0, and can we get the sweep done here in San Antonio and get that championship? No? Maybe? I don't know. Okay, well, we ran away with it here so far, and all right, I'll just see you guys in there. So far in the second half, we have outscored the San Antonio Spurs 62-42, and that is why we find ourselves in a spot with a 12-point lead on the verge of sweeping the San Antonio Spurs. So I'm pretty happy right now. Oh, wow, I thought that was going to get blocked. Good rebound. Mobley puts the layup right back up. We'll chat for, I guess, a minute about the Cavs here, and where I think they're going to go heading into the playoffs. You know, this is a team that obviously had an exit last year against the Celtics in the Eastern Conference semifinals. And while I'm not going to sit here and say if Donovan Mitchell played that entire series that I think they win, because I honestly don't think anybody was stopping the Celtics last year, I do think that series would have been a little bit more interesting. So overall wise, I think it is good experience for them. I maybe worry a bit about the experience level of this team, but I think they're fine. I wouldn't worry a ton about that. I think they are at a point where everybody understands their roles. I think they mesh really well as a group, and I think they have a top 8 or a top 9 that is really, really hard to compete with. I think the DeAndre Hunter trade, in addition, is going to do nothing but benefit this team super, super well. You know, even if he is, not the star or the 18-point per game scorer that he necessarily was over there in Atlanta, but I think he can do a lot with this team, and I fully expect them to be at a minimum. I would say in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think you have to have those expectations when you're 43-10 basically at the All-Star break. I think you cannot really think about that any way else. I think if you've been this good, this consistently, I think in a non-Eastern Conference Finals at a minimum would be a disappointing season for this team. I'm just looking at it like that. I don't know whether everybody agrees with that or not, but that's the way I see it. Anyway, so let's see what's going to end up happening here. Obviously going to be winning a championship, so we'll do one more offensive possession, then we still got year 3 to go. And again, I understand this isn't the most challenging rebuild in the world, and there's not a... Oh my God, that would have been sick. All right, goodbye. Year 2, it is a championship for us here in Cleveland. Evan Mobley won a regular season MVP, then goes on to win a finals MVP. All right, Steph Curry officially calling it a career. Eric Gordon, Paul George, you got James Johnson in here, Draymond as well, I saw. We're not going to make a ton of major changes here heading into the final season just because, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't love running things back exactly. Oh, good. Give the Thunder the #1 overall pick. I don't love running things back exactly. I do want to get Kenny Atkinson back, so if that would be possible. Thank you. We're not going to make, anything drastic, but we will probably switch up 1 or 2 things. I understand it's a little boring, especially in a rebuild where the starting 5 hasn't changed at all, just to, basically run it back year over year. But we will see what we got. No draft picks today. Craig Porter Jr. will be brought back. Taking a look here at free agency. I don't think we have, any free agents. So there are some talented players here in free agency, and Keyshawn George is here. Ooh. Did he get released? Okay, it looks like he maybe got released. Also got Scottie Pippen Jr. here, who also was released. I don't know what the hell's going on there. And we're going to get them both. Oh, shit. Keon Ellis is a free agent. Well, all right. Well, that definitely takes care of that. I'm surprised that George and Pippen were willing to sign with us, but they were. And now we have probably at least another move coming. I have no idea if the Lakers would be interested in a trade that would land us Dalton Connect, but we'll offer Luke Cornett and Craig Porter Jr. and see if we can make something work. Not a lot of future draft picks. Okay, wow, that was actually a little easier than I thought it was. So Dalton Connect going to come in. We'll be the new backup behind Donovan Mitchell. And then, again, a backup small forward upgrade wasn't really necessary, but we found one here with George, and which just likely means Johnson. Yes, Keldon Johnson. I'm all over the place today. Is going to be traded for some sort of backup center. So it's final year. Might as well look to get about as good as we possibly can. Brandon Clark, not a guy I get a lot, and might be my best option right now because we don't have any other first-round draft picks to trade. So Brandon Clark, welcome to the team. I'll see you guys at the start of year 3. Last year, we were really good. We won 71 games. Evan Mobley won a regular season MVP. He won a conference finals MVP and then won a finals MVP. Of course, all on our way to a championship. So I wasn't planning on making many major changes, at least to the bench this offseason. And then we kind of signed a couple guys that I didn't think we'd be able to get. So a couple changes were made. Of course, the starting 5 has remained the same throughout the entirety of this video. It was just kind of given and expected because this starting 5 was already really talented, and then the DeAndre Hunter trade, who we're doing this video about, certainly was not going anywhere. So that's how it'll look. Bench unit will now be led by Dalton Connect. Brought in Scottie Pippen Jr., Keyshawn George, Brandon Clark, and then Aaron Wiggins. So yeah, 4 out of 5 guys on the bench are different from last year. Wasn't necessarily expecting it, but gotta love 2K. See you guys at the end of the final regular season. I cannot make this up. I genuinely have never seen anything like this. This game must absolutely love Evan Mobley. It's the only explanation I have. I swear to God, I'm not overriding this or changing it. I've never seen this. It's kind of funny. All right, man. We went 61-21, which isn't bad. Of course, it sucks to lose 10 more games than last year. Maybe I shouldn't have futzed with the bench so much, but it is what it is. We're still really good. AJ DeBanstead wins Rookie of the Year, went #1 overall to the Thunder. You got Boogie Fland, awesome name, 6th man. You got Victor Wembanyama winning a 3rd straight DPOY. Dylan Harper, Most Improved. Jalen Brunson, Clutch Player of the Year. And our guy, Mr. Kenny Atkinson, winning, I believe, is that his 3rd straight Coach of the Year? I think it may be. All right, it is time for the standings. 10 games up on Toronto, and it still was the best record in basketball. So very much in the driver's seat here in terms of potentially going back-to-back. Donovan Mitchell actually down to our 3rd leading scorer. Interesting. All right, 1 seed for the 3rd straight season. It is us and the Celtics here in round 1, which, yeah, not really my favorite matchup for a fucking play-in team in round 1, but it is what it is. We are currently up 2-1. We are up 3-1. And we gentlemen sweep the Celtics. Now moving on to the Pistons once again here. Have somehow added Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm not really sure how that happened, but it did. And makes them a little bit more scary, especially defensively. We're 2-2 right now with Detroit. We go up 3-2, and we are taking on the, whoops, didn't mean to do that, the Brooklyn Nets here. Okay. Yeah, thanks for coming. Zion Williamson and the Pelicans here in the NBA Finals. DeJounte Murray, Trey Johnson, Trey Murphy, Zion, Isaiah Jackson, Mitchell Robinson, Austin Reeves, who probably at this point should be higher than an 81 overall. Just my opinion. All right, we are up 3-1 against them and hopefully not blowing a lead. Thank you very much. We go back-to-back, and Evan Mobley has just won the MVP of everything so far this video, I guess. Interesting. All right, man, this was a fun rebuild. Obviously, as I mentioned now, it's not the most challenging one in the world because this Cavs team is obviously really good already. And then adding the 5th starter, who we're doing the rebuild about, basically meant that I was locked into a starting 5 throughout this rebuild. So, yeah, not the most exciting in terms of major trades, but I think it was still exciting to build up this bench a little bit and, of course, win back-to-back championships. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know any other trade deadline rebuilds you are looking to see down below in the comment section, along with, this Cavs trade. Do you think it makes them the clear-cut favorite to win the Eastern Conference come playoff time? Do you think it makes them the clear-cut favorite to win the finals come playoff time? I'll be interested to see how it all works out, but yeah, man, All-Star break is almost here for the NBA, and second half is when things really, really start getting fun. So I'm excited. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.